Yeah, hi Vasan. Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
How are you, Vasan?
1 second. Just my, yeah. Hey, good evening, Shubham.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah. Hey, doing good. Doing all of you.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Good. Fine. So, I have your resume in front of me.
Okay.
Why don't you introduce yourself and talk about your the technical skill sets that you possess, and also the project, whatever you're working on, the scope of the project, and what is your role and responsibility in that particular project.
Sure. Yeah. So Vasan, I carry around 6 years of experience, and I started my career with Wipro as a front-end developer. So like mostly I have worked in telecom domain. So I started my career with Angular framework at that time and upgraded myself in different projects. Like I worked for T-System and STC, and I worked till Angular version 5. And after that, like I switched the framework tech stack and moved to ReactJS. So like from the last 4 years, I am working with React, Redux, Saga, Thunk. And along that, in my current project, which I joined last 1.5 years before, I got the opportunity to work as a full stack developer. So it's like our client is TELUS from Canada. So TELUS, they use basically their call, like, customer service representatives are there, that that they take the calls and like reply to the customer problems. They actually use Salesforce for their as a CRM tool. But for TELUS, it is like a per user like license cost. It is they have to pay for that. So what they want, and it's like a $1 million like spent per year for them. So what they want, the same functionality of Salesforce, like case management, account management, these kind of things they want as an open source, so that they will like completely get removed from the Salesforce, and they will use like a free product or a license free. So we developed the system like a replica of the functionalities, like say like the case management, account management, into React.js, and backend Node.js we are using as a microservice level architecture, and Postgres DB we are using. So my role is like I work on front end and back end both, like creating the UI components and creating the APIs also in microservice APIs, and integrating the microservice with the front end side, as well as from front end and back end we are following unit testing of 80% of threshold. Just we are using for that. So 80% threshold for function, statement, and branches are there.
Okay, pretty good. Okay. So what we'll do is in this discussion, this role is kind of a tech lead role. So, they're expected to, the person need to have a little bit of the state management skills using Redux, as well as mainly then again, little bit of design patterns, and then again, definitely on the React framework.
Okay.
Plus, like the way you mentioned, something on the backend. Okay. If you have some knowledge on how to develop a web services, or how you really view a functionality from both backend and front end, use a full use case, that is what is expected. So I will do one thing. I'll just give a small problem statement to you. You can just kind of code it. So what I need is basically, see, what we're going to do is anyway, we're going to create a store and create a state called counter, and we're going to increment and decrement the counter. So that's what we need to do. So, but on a browser, there is an increment and decrement button. So the moment you on-click the increment and decrement, it should really change the state accordingly.
Okay.
So I would request you to write a store, reducer, action, dispatch, and also you can how you provide that to a component. Then from the component, how you really select it, use dispatch it, and call as and when they on click, you can call the dispatch. Right? So just write a flow so that I can understand how it goes. Okay, so you can use Notepad or VS Code or whichever, right?
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I'll create the flow in here only in Node. It means a VS Code. Is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we are considering as a counter component we are taking.
Yeah.
And let's suppose it has some return here, and it is returning the counter. Yeah. And since it is a functional component, so we will try to use hooks only. So like for example, there is a two hooks. One is for dispatching the action, that is we called use dispatch.
Yeah.
And another is for taking the state from the Redux store. We are considering as a use selector. So for example, much first use dispatch and fonts. See, yep, like that. So in this, and yeah, we have to dispatch the action also. So let's suppose. And we are considering like one on click event handler is there, and it is just like a normal function.
So you successfully changed, transformed yourself onto React from Angular, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So it is like this is like a complete counter component, I'll say for now,
Yeah.
because like count is there and we have a increment action dispatch that will be dispatched, and updated state will be taken from the count, this
Yeah.
one. Okay, now if I talk about the reducer, so there is like use, you can say one file will be there that we are taking a count reducer.js. Reducer, yeah. So inside that there will be a count reducer, and inside that like switch statement will be there, and it is taking like a different case, like for example this increment, and it will then return this state with the state plus yeah.
Yeah.
So same like this, once we when we click it, so it's a state
It'll,
will get updated.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the reducer is there, and where will you define your action?
So action for now I have defined here on,
Okay, got it. Fantastic. Okay,
otherwise separate function we can
yeah, you can generate a separate function action. Then, so now we need to go and create a store somewhere, right? I mean, the store and
yes,
yeah,
the store and that combine reducer we write it with that particular name, like store dot like create, and then we have two methods it takes, like command reducer and the arguments that it takes, then it will be all automatically initialized in the Redux store, that
got
particular.
it. Okay, so that is okay. So action is going to return what? I mean, can you just, I mean, I understand here, okay, the action is returning only the type, right? Correct? Yeah, okay. If you want to write a separate type, then your dash, dispatch is again written. Where are you going to write your dispatch?
Yeah, yeah, this is the
It's
dispatch.
dispatch.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
Then
is just, dispatching the action and calling the reducer. Its reducer will in
okay.
return update the state and
Oh,
it will.
you're written the reducer here, right? Correct. I understand. Okay, fine. And user then store. Okay, store. You can put it in the index.html or where
Yeah.
are you going to do it?
Index.js.
Index.js. Sorry, I'm sorry. Index.js. And how will you pass the store to a component?
Okay. So
What you will import?
automatically use selector.
I don't know from there from the index.js. How you really you put a provider library, right? Correct.
Yeah. So like at the parent level, like provider is
Yeah.
there. So
Got
store
it.
equal to that import store. Yeah.
Good. Fine. Okay, that is good. I think we are good to go.
Okay.
Now, another separate problem. There is one more small. Maybe you need to write a skeleton code. Let's say that's a classic one, which is you need to write a class component and you need to define a state in it. And typically, you can use the component one where you're calling a web service. And the web service, that web service is basically nothing but something called add product.
Okay.
No, sorry. Uh, get products. Okay, so what you're trying to do, get products. The web service is going to return you a list of JSON object or JSON objects, and each and every product is nothing but one product item, which is nothing but name, ID, and price, something like that. So what you need to do is need to call the API and get the response list of JSON objects and store it as a state. Then you need to render it on a table. Okay.
Okay.
How you do it? Just write a skeleton thing, right? So that I know, are you using a bind, or using fetch, or using map, something.
Yeah. So let's suppose if I'll take the class component. So this is class component and its name, for example, will be product. So like it will be like export class and product extends react.component. It is taking auto suggestion. So like this, we will create the component, and inside it, like there will be a render method. So render method is nothing, just return the your table.
Yeah. Okay.
So here, let's suppose we are considering that component mount, and here either we can let's suppose we are using a normal like API is there. So let's suppose this is product API here. I am importing it. So after the importing that, then we can do like product API dot get product dot then of these products will come, and for logging the errors, then we can do here.
Okay, got it.
And here we can set this dot set state we do, and that particular variable that we have initialized, I will just loop it through there.
Yeah. Why don't you define a state variable, and why don't you write the bit of that fetch call?
State, let's suppose product list.
Fantastic. Good. That's what I wanted.
Here we can do like this dot set state.
Great. Okay. And there you can call component mount.
Yes. Component mount is there. Inside that, just we have to do this dot set state and product list.
So fetch call is basically before the
inside the component
mount. Okay, got it. Okay, fine. So there you because you're getting a list and you need to do then how to get the JSON response, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, good. So this is fine. So now coming back to the design patterns related questions, right? See, uh, have you guys used, structured design pattern, architectural pattern so that, all your container components and, the presentation components, all that is segregated very well so that, anything that is modifiable with states and, calling class components, you just put it in the container and all other JSX stuff, So you guys follow, how did you guys follow the design patterns, React design patterns in the project?
Here we follow mostly compositional design pattern mostly. So what happens there is for example, for every component there will be only one container component. So that container component is responsible for all your state work, means reducer redux logic. For example, if I am writing if it is a folder is there and inside that product is a component, then one container.js will be there for product. It is just doing all this operation, and the rendering part we can divide that into small chunks of the components that we call the presentational component. The need is if we will divide it into very small, or you can say atomic structure that we will do, then we can reuse it. This list is there, so that can be a separate component, then we can reuse it. But if we will put their lifecycle methods or any async functionality, then it will not be reusable as such. So it should be completely stateless. So we try to follow that root level will be stateful, and all nested childrens will be stateless as much as possible.
Got it. And you guys use all the basically modularize your application so that create different modules and make it different bundles and how to bundle
like lazy loading and
right? Okay, pretty good. Okay, so and then again, as a lead, you may have to follow certain standard, right? I mean, let's say for example, there's a team member, bunch of team members. You need to ensure that the entire team and group of the teams follow the same pattern so that everybody is reusing and everybody is writing in such a way that is reusable. So are you guys using any reusable library, and also let's say the dev tools to do some kind of a test and or some kind of a pattern, architectural pattern, design pattern, so that people will not deviate too much? Do you follow any kind of a code review that sticking to that, so that at least you enforce a standard on the quality of the code that you guys developing?
Yes. So we follow a couple of set of predefined methods. For example, if I'll start working on any PR or any story, let's suppose. So what developer do, it's already communicated to them with KT that you have to do the functional testing also with unit testing with 80% of threshold coverage. So that is the one thing. And second thing is we are clearly told that there is no one will give us the award to write more code. Right? No one will give, if more number of lines will be there, it's not like you are a good coder or very nice coding. So try to write as minimum code as possible. How it can be done is, for example, here I was I'll give you one very small example. Here I was trying to get using the use selector, this is state. So already we have created a small selectors in our whole project. So a person only just have to import that selector and use it, either iterating it or anything. It is not just blindly you are going and creating your own selector for taking out anything from the state. Everything is written already, in the reusable format. We just have to know that from where we should take out that selector value, where that function basically exists. So and then we have a common file for helper.js. So that we take care of while merging, that if any function is there and it is reusable, so it's let us to put it into the helper file. Or if any local file is there, so it's better to put in common folder, so that everyone will use it. So these kind of things, and basically ES6 features that we generally like tell them to use mostly as possible the all the ES6 features, like defining with cons. Though these coding practice, like we have ESLint configured, so automatically it will give warning or error if we will not follow, if any unused variable is there, so it will not allow you to commit the code.
Okay. Okay. Good. So you guys, at least, I mean, you need to fine forming all the checklist and common
And yes,
guidelines is
Sonar
fine,
piece
but
also is there. So we check
do.
the code smells also
Got
in
it.
Sonar.
Got it. Okay, fine. Okay, so that is good. And uh, assuming like the role required to be playing the tech lead and almost closer to an architect level role, maybe you may need to work with some kind of a techno-functional architect. So you need to have the end-to-end view. Uh, Assuming like how you really let's say make sure that, hey, I have an exposure to the web services, though it is you will not have the the web services code whatever plugged into your thing, but do you guys have the testable web services source code at least available, so that basically there is a Spring Boot environment, something you can connect to it and get it, or how you guys really do the integration testing?
Yeah, so what happens is we have we have a spotlight URL, a spot or stoplight, that I forgot its name. So a spotlight or a stoplight URL that basically client gives us to test the URL that is newly able to develop it for the next sprint. So like as I actually leads from offshore. So what I'll do, like, if like during before the planning session, I just test those on the, it is like a postman you can say, or a swagger you can consider it. Then we will come to know, okay, the required functionality is like what we are thinking, or the output that we are getting is aligning or not, or if we are missing anything, then we just convey them, okay, that this story is ready to like be groomed in the next sprint, and we can take it.
And coming to web services a little bit, uh, you said you are trying to you know somewhat about
Yes,
web
yes,
services,
yeah,
right? Correct.
yeah.
Okay. So I hope you must have used Spring Boot, correct? The Java Spring
No,
Boot.
not Spring Boot. We are using Node.js.
Node.js, fine.
Yes.
Okay. So how is your server-side web services is getting developed using Node.js?
Okay. So like here we are following microservice level architecture. So like based on the functionalities, we have right now around 30 to 35 microservices. So every microservices is maximum containing 4 to 5 routes of the controller, because that is their dedicated task, or like 1 or 2 also is there. So what happens, like we suppose if I have to develop new microservice, so like I take the boilerplate that is already in the GitHub, based on everything is configured in Jenkins or OpenShift, everything cloud thing, every deployment configuration will be there. So just I'll clone it, and like Express and everything is already predefined in the package or JSON. We just have to like write the router and the controller logic. And after that, the one thing that, since it is a microservices, so we have to do intercommunication between them. So here we are following AWS, SNS, and SQS observer pattern. So like we will be given one topic ARN. Based on that, we will like that particular microservice will publish that into that queue, and automatically the subscribing microservice will take that as a payload. And
okay. So you will anyway communicate with the front end will be communicated to the API gateway, right? I mean, correct. I mean, okay. Yes. So those API gateway mapping, all that is done by the server team, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Which is interesting. And how about the database part? So are you quite okay with the
I'm
basic
okay with
sequence?
that.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Like I basically I what like we are a full stack developer. So though we have a DBA, but we actually disturb him when we have to like take help from him while creating any kind of complex procedures or triggers or any function. Otherwise, basic queries, inner join or whatever subquery, that we are able to handle it.
Okay, got it. Okay, I think so. I think I'm kind of done with the discussion. So this is what we look for from a tech lead standpoint. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I'll let me just pass on the feedback so that next round of discussion will be scheduled. That will be, will be a final round, I hope. So, okay, that's all I have. Sure. Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Yeah,
have a nice weekend. Bye bye.
Thanks, bye.